everyone. I'm Denise Garth, Chief Strategy Officer at Majesco, and you're listening to the Future of Insurance Industry Leaders podcast series. Follow along as I interview the best and brightest leaders in the insurance industry and insurtech landscape to bring you the latest in digital transformation, innovation, industry trends, challenges, and opportunities, as well as next-gen technologies. We use our experience to anticipate what's next without losing sight of what's now. Stay tuned to find out your next now. Welcome, everybody, to today's podcast. I am thrilled today to welcome Israel Lorenzana from our Puerto Rico location with USIC. I am thrilled to have him here. He's got some really interesting insights in what they're doing there. But because of the location that they have, he's got some really great perspectives around risk. So welcome, Israel.
Morning, Denise.
You live and work in an interesting location of Puerto Rico that has really unique risks and an interesting culture and market dynamic. Why don't you talk about USIC and kind of what your role is there, what those opportunities are for USIC? That's kind of your secret sauce.
Well, USIC is fully a Puerto Rican-owned company, rated A+ by AM Best, and we focus on commercial, personal lines, surety and bonds, miscellaneous, and construction. We are proud of what we do. We are the best in what we do in terms of the service we provide to our customers. If you ask me what is the secret sauce, is our commitment to the service. When you mentioned about the interesting portion in our market, particularly are what we call in the challenge that we have during the year. As you know, being the Caribbean and being the first island or piece of land when you're coming from Europe into Americas, it's the same appealing to the hurricanes. So they came out from Africa and somehow they like to work around us or through us. That means saying that since June 1st to November 30th, our high risk or catastrophic environment, as we call it, that bring us all sort of challenges, and particularly when it comes to how fast we can deliver the service we contracted with our customers. So that makes when you in our working environment, me in particularly as the CIO, is that you always need to have your system ready, but especially ready when you're a catastrophic. God bless us, it doesn't happen, but once in a while it happens, like Maria a couple of years ago. So you have to be resilient. You have to have all sort of redundancies, but more important, be ready to fulfill the commitment that you did to your customers. And so far, we has been number one company providing and servicing our customer when it comes to fulfilling the commitment of a claim. From system view, when I came into USIC, we were ready. We were always ready, but we did have the challenges to be more prepared, to be more resilient to challenges that I explained. While we embarked even through the COVID to that we were limited in the availability to our system and the port to change our infrastructure to be more resilient and more available to our customers. That's where we engage in this digital transformation.
How has USIC shaped your business and technology strategy to really provide a new foundation for growth and innovation? Because you guys have such an opportunity there in the market from a growth standpoint.
Very good question. One of the challenges I faced when it came into USIC was the fact that really, really good, and again, this is our secret sauce, the service we were committed to our customers, is to realize that the world was changing really fast. Fortunately, there were new technology views or way of doing things with subjects as software as a service, cloud services, and the such. So we did an analysis in terms of, do we proceed or continue acquiring system and having us go through the process of growing in infrastructure and in personnel, all that is required when you bring new technology into an environment which is working really good, or you get the benefits of those services and that software without going through a lot of pain about acquisition, then maintenance, support, personnel, and the such, and which is the secondary approach. We started then engaging with providers that had an offering that was appealing to us. So we rapidly start analyzing and define the means and the ways to change from an in-house environment, totally in-house, our data centers and the such, into getting the benefits of using the software, but that software being managed and provided by others. The transition process is ongoing. We haven't wrapped it up. What I can tell, looking into the market and analyzing, if we were used to follow the natural or the traditional way of doing things, even the waterfall approach to executing projects, it will have taken us like 5 to 10 years to get to the point that we wanted to go. And obviously at that time, you're off the market again because technology is advancing too much. So that's the kind of the analysis with it. We know where we want to go. We will go the old way or we will go the new way. And we select the new way. That is, as I said, different strategies.
So part of that new way was really selecting a modern cloud intelligent core policy billing and claims as a part of your foundation and part of your digital transformation. And you've talked about trying to keep as much out of the box when you were implementing, also to meet your customer and agent expectations. So talk about kind of that process of kind of looking at a different core system and the approach that you took of trying to take as much out of the box.
In that analysis we performed in our system, our operations, we understood that instead of like traditional, you will acquire a policy management system, then acquire a billing system, then acquire a claim system, and all of them will be different, and then you have to go through the integration process. So the sustainability, the security, and the fourth. So you end up having a Frankenstein, actually, if you start acquiring, because this is the best, and you do another analysis, this is the best, and so on and so forth. We took a different approach. My business is one business, and it's an integrated one. Secondly, in digitalization, and when you change, one thing that we did, I forgot to mention, we also decided we will change from product centric to customer centric. Look into it. If you don't have access to the data, you'll be failing. Sooner or later, you'll be failing. We analyze the market and our reality. We look into providers that can provide me a full suite. And when I mean a full suite, I can have my policy management, my claim management, my billing management in one full stack. And I'm not only for one line of business, for multiple line of business, because that's USIC. Regardless, I have different line of business. At the end of the day, my relationship has to be one customer, one company. USIC. And that's where we're looking into the market and the different providers. We saw that Majesco had an offer. More importantly, not only as how to provide or get to deliver and run my business, but the fact that Majesco was investing heavily, looking into now and into the future, and talk to us about the intelligent core and the ability to get all that data from different business in one huge lake. Either the data is structured, non-structured, but more importantly, accessible to the user, meaning the employee that is servicing a customer, and down the road, even to the customer. So that was really key. It's not a one-shot deal. It's a transformation you go through. But when we look into what we need to do, instead of working with different providers, we had really strong conversation about our vision with Majesco executive, and we found we have a common sense or a common view where we're heading. Majesco has a view where we're heading with the company, and USIC has one in the way they want to grow, and it match. So in the way I see it from the technical standpoint, I have all my technology needs and support maintenance and everything in one place. And from the business standpoint, now I can offer for my business people the data when they need it, how they need it, and the such. That synergy is something, I mean, more than talking about technology, because everyone thinks, oh, you're the CIO, you only care about technology. No. Things had changed a long time ago. I need to understand the business, and I need to be sure that who's providing me the technology helps me provide the business my business owner needs. It's a different bold scenario. That's what, when I was, as I said, going back to your question, when I understood what were the requirements, what was the business asking me to provide, I'd rather work with someone than instead of having that, oh, that's a vendor. I see it as a partner that can help me facilitate and provide what the business owner needs.
Well, you started out in commercial lines. You're planning on moving on to the personal lines now too, right, Israel?
Yes.
Yep.
That's starting hopefully in the next month or two. Actually, we already had some pre-work, but yeah, we're beginning on that one. We already engaged on the surety side. We already did the commercial line of business. For personal lines, we also did the claims system for personal lines.
So one of the things that you shared with me is that USIC is on yellow alert. It's an interesting term, from June 1st to November 30th, basically on alert for hurricanes. And this was a key factor in your decision to build your first notice of loss digital solution on digital first. Talk about this and how quickly you got this out to market for your customers so that it's available during, which we're in the middle of, the yellow alert period, and why it was so important for them.
Oh, yeah, that was really interesting. So you said, and I mentioned it earlier. It was funny. I didn't remember you call it as you said, a yellow alert, but it's true. It's true. I mean, the truth of the matter, we have different cycles, different moments. But by May, even before May, we're just checking all system, and then in June 1st, we're in yellow alert, meaning that everyone is checking the weather channel, checking you name it. Why? As I said, we're in the hurricane path, in the hurricane arena, and that's where actually we just begin the peak of the season. September is the peak, so now we're really on alert. And what that means is that our commitment in case and God protect us, we have a major catastrophe. We have commitment on how fast can we reply to our customer and tell them, here I am, I hear you, I'm gonna work with you. That's the first notice of loss. When we were evaluating where we were, I remember talking to Mayesco. I said, oh, listen, we were talking about digital first as a means to an enablement to happy with low code or no code access to my data in the backend. Well, talking to fellows in my desk, I say, well, I don't have for personal lines, which is my biggest and largest present, not present, but business in USIC. I need to have access or be faster in the way to answer my commitment to my customers. And that's where they show us, okay, this is what I have for FNOL. And what I'm trying to say is digital first, as by design, already has the built-in persona that you can use, or you can start from. Instead of starting from zero, you can start from 30% of what you need or 40% whatsoever. When we saw the FNOL feature or service from digital first, we get enchanted because we say, well, this is great. I mean, this is going to work really good to us. So that portion of what was the user interface as such, actually we removed features and functions. They changed the colors. But more importantly, we rapidly focus on how we get access to the data because, I mean, to get the FNL, you need access to the data. So we spend much of the time getting access to the data and then tweaking and picking the front end and the focus on the idea is that customer can get in, create its claim, and get that first notice of loss. So that means that I already know you have a need and we're going to serve you. That project from concept, I would say we had a conversation, we did a blueprint. I think it took us like 10 days, working days. And once we had saw that design and we launched the project, in 4 weeks, we were ready into production. So it was such a rapid turnaround that for us, it was unbelievable because obviously this is the whole offering from Mayesco was really challenging to us in terms of how aggressive they say they can deliver. And we engaged and it's there. And we did it. And on time, on budget. And then we had the opportunity to tweak and pick, the look and feel and so on and so forth. But it was a really great experience. And actually that was pivotal to us when we were analyzing for USIC all strategy. What will be the basis for us to provide portals, personas, agent portals, and as such. So actually, it's a subject, it has really transformed us in the way we're thinking and how long it will take us to achieve different things that we have on stack, project that we have lined up. So yeah, that was really an interesting thing.
It's a great app to have available for your customers. I'm hoping you don't have to use it though.
Indeed. Indeed. It's interesting. I mean, we were all proud of what we did, but we all pray that we don't have to use it.
Exactly. It's better to be prepared.
Yes.
We talked also, Israel, when we were talking ahead of time, agents and customers really fear technology rollout, because it's something new. It may be confusing to them, a whole range of different kinds of perspectives. Talk about the importance of the user experience and the usability design focus and what you learned in rolling this first notice of loss app out and what you hope to apply into the future.
That's certainly, it's like everyone resists change. It's a human nature. In our case, as you say, customers, agent, even everyone, when there's a change, it's some fear, some resistance. What we had done so far is that we involve the agents, sometimes a little bit the customers, producers. In this, we like to involve them in what we're planning and we're building for them. In that way, it's empowering to them. For us, it validates what we thought or we think is what they're needing. And it's kind of interactive. And in that way, we understand we reduce that resistance because they know what is coming. We had done many surveys and we had many sessions and discussing with agents, producers, and customers about what they're expecting. For us, this is extremely important Because as I said at the beginning, what is our secret sauce is the service, our commitment to service. When you go through in a digital environment that will be accessible anytime, any place, it's challenging because it's a high risk. But having them involved with us in what we're designing, it gives us a confidence that we're gonna be delivering, and we are delivering what they want. So far, again, our experience with the FN oil, it was really good, empowering, and we are already having this conversation and working on a couple really interesting projects. That interaction, and I would say like in any project, you need to involve the consumer on what are you delivering in order to have them interacting and helping you design the best tool for them, I would say.
One of the other areas, and you kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier, that's a big focus for you is around data and analytics. Now with, intelligent core and digital solutions and being able to have access to all of that data to really be able to gain some different business insights. Talk about what your future looks like around that and what the focus is.
As I mentioned earlier, it still is, it's a challenge in terms that it's something that is composed of many activities, many mini projects. And before I sit down with Majesco data analysis people, architects, and the such, because we had a couple meetings, and actually 2 weeks ago, Majesco people were at our offices, and we were having workshops on all these hands-on meetings. Having the ability at the intelligent core and by architecture, Majesco provided without having to build interaction, without having projects about how to move data from one place to the other. Automatically, everything get into the same place. Provide me the ability to segment my data, qualify my data, clean my data, apply data governance, apply security, you name it. Also, the things that we have to do to ensure that that data is clean and available. Now, not only is that is there, is how that data can be accessible to my regular employee in the line of business, to the manager in the line of business, without having to go through major project of data extraction, transformation, loading, you name it. How that data can be structured that end user is able to by himself to query into that data, create those reports, have them in their dashboard. They don't have to jump to another solution, another package, because everything is embedded in one suite. That for me, it's solving a lot of problems. It's empowering to my end user, who knows better of what they need than them. Every time if they have a requirement, they have to explain to someone else, and someone else has to do that argument, and someone has to do it. So at the time that it's like 4 interactions to get something done, and then that person who required receives it and says, well, looks kind of, but that was not exactly what I meant. That will be shrinking to maybe 1-2 steps. Everything will fall into how much they ask for or how involved they get into. And that for me is incredible. It's awesome. And then again, it was a dream, but now I have the technology to make it happen. This is not going to happen from Friday to Monday, but we're already also working with all our coworkers on change management process, understanding how you fit and what you do fits into the big picture. So far, with all the different projects we have gone through, it's amazing how empowered the employees feel and how needy and how hungry they are to get their hands on more tools that add value to the end result they're providing in terms of the service or whatever they're doing. So it's amazing. It's a really interesting experience, and is really nice to see how people react when you let them know, okay, now you have access to the data. I will teach you how to do this. What is inside, what is involved, what is required. We 3 years ago, we changed from just having regular data to we start segmenting data. We start creating reports. We started creating dashboard. So that we were in a transition that all of a sudden we start asking the intelligence about, okay, what if? And then with the implementation of intelligent core and what we're doing right now, a lot of things will be done, and we can focus more about the intelligence that how proactively what that data means to my business. That's the way we're going right now.
It's really amazing how technology can really, when done right and when implemented right, can really empower your employees and the teams, but also, as you mentioned earlier, even your customers. It really has to be thoughtful in that way. And, you talked about the technology assessment, but also it's really about a partnership, because it's more than just the technology, it's the partner that you're working with. What were your expectations in the partnership with Majesco, and how have those expectations been met along the way, Israel?
I gotta tell you that since I met Majesco, and again, let me add you, I came into USIC from being on the market over 25 years and big technology companies doing big projects. And I never saw myself as a technology provider. I was seek myself to be my customer partner. That was the challenge that I present to Majesco. And even from the regular person I was working and even executive, I always told them, I don't deal with vendors. I look for partners. And they heard me. I had never, ever felt, and hopefully it will never happen, that for some reason, any requirements or any request that I had made or any need that I had, and when I say I, it's USIC, had not been fulfilled in a way a true partner works with you. When you're working with a company worldwide as Majesco, you know, they have people working around the world. And sometimes we're working, our time zone is nice for us because it's working hours, but there might be in the call people that are at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., God knows. And Majesco had never, ever hesitate to make people available when it's needed. And I honestly, every project has its hiccups. Any project will run into walls. Every project will have challenges, but I have never felt that Majesco has left me off the hook. He has always shown up, been there, do whatever it has to do, and had delivered to us as a true partner. And even talking to us about where we're heading to, our vision, and so on and so forth. They sat down, and there were instances that they say, you know what, Israel, at present point, we do not have an answer to your question. We will work on that. Or sometimes things that we had requests, and it's not within Majesco strategy. So I'll go and do elsewhere. So that honestly, that transparency, it's is really important to me. I always tell them, say me the good things, but more importantly, show me that you'll be there when things are not that good. And so far, they haven't failed.
It's about showing up.
Being there, yeah. Actually, even preventing, even I mean, Majesco has much more experience than we have. I mean, Majesco had I don't know how many thousand customers. And a lot of time we're working and thinking about something, and because it's the way we want it, and it's the way we do business, and they say, okay, guys, may I say something? Heads up. This is what we think. What about we think about this way? What about we think this other way? Let me show you about, and it's that dynamic. And they have many times present us alternatives that we had never thought. Actually, one of the requirements that I tell my ESCO team when we're implementing any project is that we will tell you how we do things, but honestly, it's for your information. Tell me how you will do it because you're the owner of the system. Challenge my line of thought. Challenge me when I'm saying to you, this is the way I do it because maybe I'm doing it because I didn't have a better tool, or because that's the only way I learned about how to do it. So challenge me. And that's a communication and interaction that we have constantly. Like in everything in life, if you don't listen to people or you don't listen to others, you will never grow. If you think, whenever you start thinking that you know everything, you start to fail. When you believe that you own the truth of everything, you're failing.
So one of the things too, Israel, that I wanted to and it kind of ties into this that you're talking about is what are the best practices? I mean, you've had a lot of experience, as you said, with some big companies. Now you've had experience USIC. What are the best practices that you can kind of share with our audience?
I'm an engineer by trade. So when I'm saying, I always think about when projects I'm doing buildings. I'm not a civil engineer, I'm a computer engineer, but you have to work through all kind of engineering when you're at school. I always focus on the foundation. You need to talk from the beginning, where you're heading, what is your future, what is your vision. Forget about if technology can do it or not. No, talk about your vision. Be sure you talk about your vision. You talk about what your customer expect. Think about that customer experience and talk loudly without, I mean, do not even question yourself if this is doable or not. That's really, really important. That will set the focus of everyone where everyone is heading. Then you start boiling down, you start analyzing, and that's where you need to have a partner that will help you go through the process to break everything in different details until you had enough information to build that foundation. And what I'm saying is that if you want to build a 110 stories building, dream about it with everything. That means that a foundation has to be really wide, has to be a lot of things have to be there. If you start building a 5-story building and at the third floor you say, what about I add 3 more floors or add balconies, and you have to go back and break apart what you built before because the foundation will not support it. In our business, in the business of digitalization, you have to be sure you have access to the data, to the smaller granular detail of the data you need now, but more importantly, you might need into the future. That's the key. Have access to the data. So best practice, dream about it, talk about it, think about what your customer needs, and your customer can be your employee, the agent, the producer, the underwriter, you name it, the agency. Those are customers. Talk to them. Ask them what they need, what they want, how they want it, so on and so forth. Gather all that information, talk about it, and then go into details. More importantly, always focus that all that interaction, everything generates data, and be sure you have access to that data, because that's where things start to get interesting. You start just with that data, you will start doing analysis, you will see tendencies, you name it. You'll be able to have a sound foundation for your artificial intelligence engine. And if nowadays you're evaluating projects without having the artificial intelligence mindset, I think you have to reach out for a revisit what you're thinking right now. So it is access to the data. So best practice, look, dream about it, talk about it, focus on the customer experience. Customer experience, everyone will interact with your system, build a sound foundation, and use and follow your provider best practices in terms of executive projects. There are many tools, many strategies to get this done. Design thinking, using agile project implementation. Certainly you will need change management, and there's different kind of strategies. Listen to them. That's really important. Have a strong project management office. That's really important. Things will get hectic and a project must continue. And obviously, last but not least important, check your budget and your schedule. Align with the different events you have through the years. The first 3 quarters of every year is taxes. In our case, hurricane season is from June 1st to November 30th. So every project working along, we prepare like having second and third strategies, because if we get hit by a hurricane, everything has to go in halt. What do you do with your project? What do you work on? So those kind of the things that I would recommend. But more importantly, dream. Think about it. Don't withhold because no, the technology that I have or I don't have right now, that's not important. Dream about what you want ahead, but more importantly, listen to the customer you're delivering for, because whatever you do it for a customer. And be sure you have access to that data, because that's where things get interesting. Now, listen, in Majesco, all these companies, those players, they have best practices, execution practices. Listen to them. Let them guide you somehow. Allow yourself to be challenged by their offering and by what they're saying and their experience. You have to listen. It's the only way. We know in USIC, we know our business, how we run our business, and we're the best in the way we run it, and we're the best. That's why we are recognized. But we are not the expert on technology. We're not an expert in Majesco software. We are not expert in how Majesco implements the projects. So why I will tell Majesco how to do things? It's nonsense. So listen, and again, very important, I have to re-say this, reconfirm. Dream, create a cohesive vision based on what your customer expect. What experience you want to provide. It's important your internal business, but internal business has to respond to that customer need.
Yeah, you guys have been on an amazing journey in a transformation with really great opportunity ahead from a growth standpoint. So when I kind of think about it, you guys are really well positioned for the future of insurance, Israel, and you've got lots more that you've got planned to do. What I always like to do is end my podcast with having my guests use one word or a phrase to describe the future of insurance and say why. So what's yours, Israel?
The future of insurance for us?
Yeah, what's one word or phrase that would describe it for you guys?
Exciting.
I love it.
I say it's exciting, definitely. And that's actually, it's kind of our motto, internal motto. We're excited in what we do. We're excited where we work. We're excited working with each other. We're excited to deliver our customer the best service we can. And what we're putting together is that have them more rapidly, promptly tell us what they need. We'll be excited of facilitating that to them. It's exciting. We're happy what we're doing, but the best is still to come.
Well, we're happy to be on that journey with you for the best yet to come, Israel, and really appreciate the partnership between USIC and Majesco.
Thank you very much, Denise. Same here. Excited about this. It's not that we're beginning, we're really into this, and so far so good. And we're excited what is coming through. Thank you very much, Denise, for the opportunity.
Thank you. That's it for this week's episode of Future of Insurance Industry Leaders podcast. Subscribe to our market-leading podcast series available wherever you get your podcast from. Thank you for listening, and be sure to tune in the next time.